Let's talk about Alien Romulus, though. Joe, why don't you give me because this falls into you are the horror expert, right? And this was directed by Fede Álvarez, who comes out of the horror world, having done the Evil Dead reboot. What else has Fede Álvarez done?
Don't Breathe.
Exactly. So this guy's coming in with a real nice horror pedigree.
Absolutely.
Give us your take on Alien Romulus, please.
So Brett set it up. Fede Álvarez from Uruguay. He started the short films and kind of quickly or seemingly quickly, I'm sure for him felt like an eternity. He was brought on and his first feature was this Evil Dead reboot, which is high stakes stuff. You want to talk about fan service and making fans happy and stuff. Evil Dead fans are real. But I think he knocked it out of the park. He took something very difficult to do. He made it his own, and he made it very bloody and gory. I liked his Evil Dead reboot. Then he could have gone on to do another big budget thing, but he wanted to take a mini step back, and he did Don't Breathe, which was this original project. It's about Jane Levy, who starred in Evil Dead. This time, Jane is creeping around the house. She's a thief with her brother of this old, blind, very strong veteran who lives in this house. And it's very.
They're gonna rob his house.
They're gonna rob his house, and he's blind, and they have to.
It got a sequel. It was a big movie,
and it's very good. Both of the movies show a surgical sort of approach to horror. He isn't by the book in a bad sense. He's by the book in a good sense. He knows exactly the mechanics that make horror work, that can create sort of tension and then can have it pay off. And Don't Breathe is sort of an exercise in sort of practicing all the ways mechanically and format how you make horror beats happen, and it's very effective, if not a touch of soulless. There's this little tiny problem with Fede. Evil Dead is very has a little bit more soul because it's again brought to life by an incredible performance by Jane Levy. But he is a surgeon, is how I kind of think about him. But he has a little bit of the problem of the technical genius, which is, where is your heart, Fede? Then he gets to make Alien Romulus. This is the ninth? The ninth Alien movie.
If you count the Predator crossover movies,
which we do.
Which we
absolutely do.
So those are this is the ninth movie in the Alien franchise.
This is the ninth movie in the Alien franchise. Fede is a huge Alien head. He loves them all. He even loves the video game that everybody keeps talking about. What was that one? Alien something, which everyone's like, it's based on the video game. Okay. So Fede and his writing partner are brought in after Ridley Scott's, Covenant semi-flopped. Disney wanted to go a new way. Fede pitched them the story for Romulus. They liked it. They were originally going to bring it to Hulu, and it wasn't until right till the end of production when Disney said, why would we bury this on Hulu? This thing is sharp. Let's put it on the screen.
Although props to Hulu for having all the Alien movies on there.
That was
wasn't that easy?
I was a Hulu man this week.
Literally, it just says
crushing Alien.
It just says the next one's gonna start playing in 30 seconds. You can watch the entire franchise start to finish.
And I recommend
Hulu.
you do.
Yeah. So sorry.
No.
It's one of Hulu's better things. All Alien.
It was
movies.
great. But then they put it in theatrical, and now we know that was a great idea. It's made a ton of money.
Yes.
We're definitely getting a second Alien, and I definitely think you should consider giving Fede a shot. So,
hell yes.
What is Alien about?
Alien Romulus.
It takes place between Alien and Aliens. Basically, this group of kids that are stuck on this hellhole planet where their corporate overlords, Weyland Yutani, the famous bad guys from all the Alien movies, are just making their lives a living hell. They want to go up to the spaceship that is floating and broken in the space, and they want to steal all the cryo chambers and sell them and use the money to go to this other planet where they can live a happy life out from under their corporate overlords. But have you ever seen an Alien movie, Brett? The kids go up to the ship, and folks,
smoothly.
It does not go according to plan because of the alien, of course. This movie stars Kaylee Spaney in her biggest movie or biggest role to date. She's the Ripley, man. She's supposed to be
and she's
Sigourney
been on
Weaver.
a meteoric rise with
Kaylee's on fire.
Priscilla to Civil War to now Alien Romulus.
It's no secret. I love Kaylee Spaney. I thought she was amazing in Priscilla. I thought she was great in Civil War, a movie that's good that Brett's wrong about. And I thought she was.
I'm right, it's wrong.
And she is the star of Alien Romulus. Speaking of something Brett's right about, your guy from Industries in this movie,
David Johnson.
David Johnson plays the robot in this movie. I say that because there's always a robot in an alien movie.
Yep.
He plays the synthetic human.
He's the Ian Holm, the Michael Fassbender, the
Lance Hendrickson.
Lance Hendrickson.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So he's the robot we get to know, and he and Kaylee are brother and sister. You know, this robot was made by Kaylee's dad to take care of her, and they're thick as thieves. Even though he's a little outdated, she takes care of him. And I don't want to tell you the whole plot of Alien Romulus. Needless to say, Alien starts happening.
I want to say, let's be careful.
I'm done with the plot.
We're gonna be
that's the setup.
I have edited spoilers out of my review.
No, that's fine. That's the setup to the movie. And then, but here's a spoiler: alien stuff starts happening because it's an alien movie.
And the thing that it's almost hard to spoil alien movies because the thing that I realize that I love about this franchise that we'll talk about rewatching it is like there are just like when you're making an alien movie, you kind of don't have in a good way, you don't have a lot of room for creativity because you have like every alien movie does the same 5 tropes. Does like abandoned spaceship, face hugger, chest burster. You got to fight the big xenomorph, and it's never over till it's over. It's like those are the 5 like over and like every movie. It's really the most like systematic, repetitive franchise, I think, out of all the franchises. But I really like that because it forces you to be creative within a structure and to find your creativity in more subtle, nuanced ways that are not like big fucking plot twists or different things. It's like every alien movie, I don't know how they've maintained this kind of like consistency, but man, from 1 through 9, even in some of the weird out there ones, you still have basically the same beats in every one. But I loved the way Fede explored this. You know, I love Fede's version of the alien beats.
Well, I think that you're right that alien movies have a lot of the same elements, but unlike so many other franchises, I think that's something that the Alien franchise as a whole does so well is its curiosity about exploring different elements of the world that Ridley Scott and James Cameron and company created. What I mean by that is
Ed O'Bannon
and Giger and the whole crew.
Yes.
What I mean by that is, you know, Alien 1 is all about the corporation's bad and it's like a slasher, and then the second one is like the military is bad, and there's always like a new thing, you know, and then you get to Prometheus and it's like, what is God, you know, and there's always reaching. Alien 3, it's like, who, you know, it's so philosophical and there's jail. Like it, even though it always is going to give you some alien stuff, it always goes so much farther philosophically or thoughtfully or spiritually or theme wise. It's always all over the map and it's always searching and yearning.
I agree with that. That's where it evolves, is in its themes, is where it changes.
Yes.
It's just amazing how at just the level of like tropes and beats, every movie is like almost identical. It's kind of crazy, but they don't feel identical because of what you're saying, that thematically is where they change. But tropes and beats, like as I was watching them start to finish, I was like, are they gonna like? Is she just gonna like? Does she have to just like shoot the alien out of the airlock again?
No, every movie, it's like
every movie has the same plot beats.
The alien got on the escape ship. You know what I mean? Everyone, it's like, you think you escaped, the alien got on your ship.
I kind of love it.
100%.
It's almost like watching the same show over and over again.
Because thematically they're so different,
Yeah.
and you always get a great crew, and you always get to meet the characters, and they always have a little interesting dynamics, and it's always led by a great lead. Often Sigourney Weaver is murdering and doing a great job, and so is Numi, and so is Watterson, and so is Kaylee. But
Watterson, but we'll talk.
Fair and fine.
Yeah.
But Brett, I think this might be where me and you diverge. While all of the tropes and the beats part of Alien Romulus, all the parts that we love
are familiar,
all the familiar stuff. Yes, this movie got a lot of criticism for over familiarizing it. I do think Brett's kind of right, where it's like,
that's the franchise.
It's kind of like they all have the face hugger. You're kind of right, Brett. It's like
every alien movie is the same at the level of
plot.
They
all got like the xenomorph mixes up with an animal.
Yeah.
It's just okay. But what this movie So I loved the set design. I loved the way he shot it. I thought the dynamic between Kaylee and her robot brother was actually sort of rich, although maybe not fully explored. But I thought the space looked great. Some of the hard beats worked, although I really could have gone for more gore. Fede a big time. I think I got a little Disney-fied. So from the trope beat perspective, I think Fede loves the franchise and honored it to the nth degree. I think where Alien Romulus drops the ball a little bit is on pushing the themes, especially after Ridley Scott decides to push the themes to the nth degree in Prometheus and Covenant. It feels back to basics. You want to go back to basics with a face hugger? Be my guest. You want to go back to basics by sort of J.J. Abrams-ifying the themes. And by this point in Alien number 9, by now we're like in Covenant, it's like, not only does God hate you, he's coming down from heaven to murder your ass, whatever. Like, it's going so thematically sort of like rich and crazy. And Romulus is it felt, the problem with Romulus for me is it felt like a corporate sort of stop on these great themes of exploration. And yeah, you can have your moment where Kaylee's gets, the company's mean to her. You can have a little moment where the company's mean, but we're going to drop that in 5 seconds. And then we're just going to do Alien. And what's Alien to us, Disney? Alien is you guys are chased by the alien. That's what's up. And that is a shame because Romulus had so much good elements. It had great parts. It has a really nice third act with a lot of fun twists and turns. It definitely had me smiling the whole entire time. I can quibble with some choices, and I'm not interested in spoilers right now, but ultimately, Brett, my review sort of boils down to thematically, Romulus felt like a step backwards. The movie felt a little bit like, again, the J.J. Abramsification of let's take this element and this element and this element. We'll switcheroo the genders and we'll switcheroo who does what, but ultimately you're going to get all your favorite parts and we'll suck sort of the politics or sort of the edge out of the thematics and make it a little fun family ride. That is my core problem with Romulus. That being said, this movie is good. I liked it very much. I'm not a hater at all. I look forward to Alien Remus. Fede, he's good. He is a little too. Talk about. Not to compare him to the Russo brothers because he's so much more talented. It's not even funny. Like, he's actually a good director. But Romulus, I can blame Disney. But Fede, where's that heart, brother?
I ultimately agree with you, but I could not disagree more with that line of thinking because to me, and I hate that you've set it up so that I'm now like supporting the Disneyification of Alien, which is not what I'm doing.
You might not think that's what it was, though.
Because I actually think that I like, as you'll find out in my rankings, I like Prometheus a lot. But to me, Covenant is one of the major low points in the franchise because it took this like little thing I didn't like about Prometheus and then made it the whole thing, which is when you get to Covenant, Ridley Scott has just over thematized the franchise and is over philosophizing, and the movie becomes drowned in this sort of dorm room philosophizing, where what I like is in the original Alien, the original run, is that there is meaning embedded, inherent in the plot and inherent in the story and characters, and it's not force-fed to you through these like philosophical androids.
Brett,
and so
that's
I
fine.
like, so I feel like, to me, Alien Romulus was this really nice like clearing of the deck where it was like, let's go back to the original Alien where the meaning is like inherent in the story and the characters, and there was themes in this movie that were interesting to me, which is like, because if you go back and watch them start to finish, one of the main themes, all of this like origin of life philosophizing doesn't come in until the prequels. It's not in any of it doesn't come in until movie 7,
Sure.
Like the main theme of that is consistent over from Ridley Scott to James Cameron to David Fincher to Jean-Pierre Jeunet is the company corporate power and the way that it just puppeteers people's lives and treats these like employees and working class people out in the galaxy as disposable in the name of scientific progress. And so I thought that like,
or in the name of arms dealing.
Yes, or in the name of arms dealing, exactly, or militarism or whatever the goal is. And so to me, I actually thought Alien Romulus like restored the core thematics of the franchise in a way that was not like as pretentious as Covenant fell into.
But, Covenant aside, fine. We both agree that like, James Cameron then goes, let's see what the military-industrial complex is like. And Alien 3 is like, let's see what, well, Alien 3 is crazy, but what philosophy in jail and life is like. And the movies always sort of take just the baseline Alien, which is very like a rich text about corporate malfeasance, but also like sexual assault in the workplace. Like it's like amazing, right? Like, and you're right, it is told through plot, and there's nothing pretentious about how Alien is told. And in Covenant, it is like, he has like a whole
what is God?
He has a symphony of that, and
life?
I get off on it. And
Play Wagner while I talk about life.
So that's just fucking.
How is that going to be your fourth? I can't wait to hear
money.
This.
In
I
the
can't
bank.
wait to hear this.
It comes down to
all right, real quick. Go ahead. Sorry,
I really, since I'm so sorry to just say the same thing again. Romulus, guys, Aliens, Alien 3, fucking Alien vs. Predator. They are political. They're inherently political.
You don't think this is inherently political?
No, I actually
People
don't.
are choking to death on the fumes from the mines, and the only way they can survive is to hijack stolen.
That's in the first like 15 minutes.
But it rides. It rides under the surface.
It doesn't. Actually, you get onto the ship. You have your least.
This movie's about class warfare.
No, it's not. This movie's about alien chasing kids. This movie's about a bunch of kids go to a cabin in the woods and get stalked. That's what this movie's about. This isn't about corporate malfeasance.
It's the best kind of movie about class warfare.
No. This movie is about. I think it's actually kind of a shame because it has this sort of like great setup. I loved seeing the mining planet. I loved the.
Looked like Blade Runner.
Dude,
it looked like fucking Blade Runner.
I loved the design of
gorgeous.
the big.
I've not seen anything
awesome.
that gorgeous on the screen in a long time.
I really loved the deep
gorgeous
focus, big beautiful stuff. I love the lie that like he used all practical effects. I'm watching the movie like there's just like infinite CGI. But
we haven't gotten,
it looks great.
But we haven't gotten sci-fi noir like that since Blade Runner.
I'm not mad about it.
That planet looked
great. But that
great.
was then, and then it's sort of you get onto the ship. The crew is completely indistinguishable from one another. It's the worst crew in all the Alien
I'll give you
movies.
that. I'll give you. I'll give you.
The best thing about the crew is always the crew. Like even in Alien, even in Covenant, like there's Danny McBride and there's like the guy from Doctor Strange, and they have banter.
Well, but Covenant's the worst cast movie of all the aliens. But we can talk about
forget Covenant. Okay. Prometheus. You got Prometheus
is one of the
you
best.
You got
cast
Idris
movies.
Elba. You got Charlize Theron, and they're all like
yes.
talking. It's amazing. Harry Dean Stanton and Sigourney Weaver. Anyway, in Romulus,
whose character's name is Brett.
In Romulus, it's like a grab bag of randos, and you never really get any distinctive stuff with them. It's sort of a mishmash.
I'll give you that.
I also think Romulus suffers from sort of like spatial awareness. I had trouble kind of like, what? Like not like spatially, where are they and where are they going? I thought there was some sort of steps skipped. And then finally, we haven't touched on it. This is almost neither here nor there. It's like a choice that these big corporate movies, like I don't know who to be mad at, but the Ian Holm thing was weird.
It was bad. It was bad.
Come
okay,
on.
it was bad.
That was
bad.
in this movie. Oh,
that was
shit,
my
is that a
big
spoiler? I'm sorry.
No.
Fuck,
it comes in very early. Okay, so my
you can cut that out if that's.
I did in my notes have a character from a previous movie.
I'm so sorry.
All right, but here's the thing. Here's what I'll say, because that was my big. I agree with a lot of what Joe is saying. Okay, it happens very early on. No, it's not about.
It also sucks.
Yes, but. Yeah, it does suck. All right, but look, I thought this movie this movie was gorgeous. The mining city that they flee from is pure Blade Runner. Cool. The spaceship, the like asteroid belt that they are about to crash into, and that's like the ticking clock of the movie. It looks amazing. I actually thought the filming of the space station interior was amazing. It reminded me of that amazing trick that John McTiernan and John DeMont play in Hunt for Red October, where they give you claustrophobia and vastness at the same time, where the spaceship is like, sometimes it seems bigger than it should be, and then other times it seems so much smaller than it possibly could be. I liked the filming of the interior of the spaceship. I could have used a little more fucking light. It was a little dark all the way through, but that's a battle I've lost fucking 10 years ago, so whatever. I thought I agree with Joe that the characters are a little indistinguishable, and it's probably the least sort of fun of all the crews of all the Alien movies. But I did like Kaylee Spaney.
Me too.
I did think, just to talk about, and look, I mean, acting in movies involve physicality. I'm not trying to be weird about this, but I was very impressed that this is like, Kaylee Spaney is like a diminutive act, like 5'1". I looked up, is like Kaylee Spaney is like she's small, right? Mm-hmm. She crushed the action hero thing.
Hell yeah.
And it was through this combination of the way she was shot and the way she performed it, but like full, like because Sigourney Weaver is like it's like a big, it's like tall and big and physically imposing and towers over like other actors in the movies that she's in. I mean, even when like Paul Reiser in Aliens comes into her like little cabin in the beginning, and like she just towers over Paul Reiser and is just like such this presence.
I love
Kaylee
Reiser
Spaney
in
is
Aliens.
tiny, is a small person, but like, oh my God, you would not have known it. She like I was how is she gonna do action hero? Great. Kills it. I thought Kaylee
awesome.
Spaney was great. Again, David Johnson is great.
He really was.
Little side note, I know we're talking about movies. You know this, Joe. I've been on the train since the very beginning. Industry is the best show currently on television. I think people are finally catching up to that fact with season 3. Get on that train if you're not already on it. Industry fucking rules. He's not on the series anymore, but he was for the first 2 seasons. I love when you're about to get a big alien set piece. No one does action set pieces like the Alien franchise. When you know you're in the middle of, there is one, and we won't give it away, but there's a set piece at the end that involves like anti-gravity that is like up there with.
I love that
as
part.
one of the best set
I thought
pieces.
It was cool as hell.
One of the best set pieces in the whole
franchise.
That was
my second favorite part of the whole
fucking
movie.
phenomenal.
Yeah.
And it's so great because it's not like out of the blue. It's like it's that great set piece where it ties together plot points while giving you just pure action filmmaking. It's so good. My big issue with the movie is the way that it navigated this fault line of like being a standalone movie while also being part of a franchise that people have expectations for. I thought it went a little heavy-handed on some of these fan service moments. You already mentioned it. There is this like there's like Ian Holm from the played the android Ash in the original movie, shows up here. Obviously it's not actually Ian Holm, so they do the fucking like CGI'd Ian Holm.
Carrie Fisher
and I was just like, why?
No need.
It could have just been an android. Like we understand that we've had Michael Fassbender, we've had Lance Henderson. Let's get
we have David Johnson.
We have David Johnson. Let's
like
get a new android.
They look different.
Yeah, or there's a part later on where we only see Ian Holm on like those cool computer screens, and he's like very sort of like VHS-y and like almost 80s analog-y. I was like, or just have him as that. But they do this like bad version of Robert De Niro in The Irishman, where it's like this young CGI'd Ian Holm, and it's like that was the first moment where
and it's not even Ash, it's Rook. It's like a different.
It's like a different. So I was like, why?
I don't know. It was so dumb.
There's a couple moments like that. There's a moment where like I get that Kaylee Spaney is doing the Sigourney Weaver role. Like there's a weird moment where like they highlight, I think it's like those like remember those like tennis shoes that Sigourney Weaver had? There's a moment where they clearly are doing like the fan service, like Kaylee is the new Sigourney, and I was like, I know, but now you've made it weird and obvious, and now I'm sort of taken out of the movie for a second.
I think the movie had I think that is a core issue. Like the score is just Frankensteined the 3 scores from the previous films together in certain moments. It was these choices where it was like every Alien movie is so distinctive and rich thematically, or at least interested in trying something new. Even fucking Resurrection tries something new, and it's like Alien Romulus is just, it's not trying anything new. It's really celebrating all the old, and then it has like some very cool pieces. It has some nice acting, but the crew sucking isn't just like a little quibble. Like without us loving the crew,
it's not a great problem.
Like think about like a Prometheus.
It's a big problem.
Like by the time everyone starts dying, it's a big problem for me, the audience member, because I've grown to love all of these people in a short amount of time. In Alien Romulus, they're fucking chumming the water. They're just a bunch of nobodies that are going to get fucking gobbled up by your favorite parts of the previous Alien movies. It's true. I don't want to say it, but it's true. And as pretty and as well crafted as this movie is, sometimes too well crafted, the last hour unfolds where it's one of those movies where it's like every single detail set up. Because Fede the surgeon, it's just like, take care of this thing I set up, 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 this thing I set up. And sometimes Alien Romulus does kind of feel like it's not so much narratively driven as now I'm in the next room with the next problem, and now I'm in the next room with the next problem. And it doesn't mean it's bad. It just means that I found it to be deficient or in certain areas that I really love about my favorite entries in the franchise.
Now, overall, though, I understand what Joe's saying. I really like this movie. My experience in the theater was overwhelmingly positive. I would say behind the first Omen, this is my second favorite like franchise movie of the year.
Whoa.
I thought overall was very strong, acknowledging Joe's issues. acknowledging this issue with these little fan service moments that take. Because the problem with a fan service movie, and because there are movies that like there are movies that tell you like this is a movie and this isn't real, and I'm doing this sort of meta thing that I'm on board with. But this was such a like tense, noir-y, like it's like why are we doing fan service moments in this movie? It doesn't need it. It does nothing like it doesn't. It takes me out.
It's a Disney-ish.
Right? Just because the fucking Comic-Con mafia needs this shit. It's
I don't know.
Like get out of here.